Over the last few weeks, I've been travelling around, as has my lovely partner, the lovely Julia, to various different venues and places around the countryside, giving talks. People, for some reason or other, think that I've got something worthy to say. And we've been meeting other speakers who do have interesting things and very worthy things to say, knowledge which is extremely interesting and sometimes a bit overwhelming. And this is the point of this little monologue today. Are you feeling somewhat discombobulated by all the information that is coming over to us all the time? I certainly am. You go and you listen to something and they scare you left, right and centre about, I don't know, some of the military bits and pieces of equipment that's been developed far longer than you ever realised, or perhaps some of the health implications that are in not just the food that we eat, the water, the air and things like that. I mean, we've heard recently, and I was listening to Ian Simpson, who I'd had on the show, about how they're targeting farmers with the chemtrails or the chemical trails. He doesn't like us using chemtrails, and the particulates which are landing onto the ground, poisons, heavy metals, which is damaging the soil. And you hear, oh yeah, there's a great attack on farmers, and maybe we should all be stocking up with food whilst we try and sort everything out, because there may be a great famine coming. And if there's a great famine coming, what are we going to do when the food runs out? Are we going to start sort of crawling and tearing at each other's eyes to get at each other's supplies of food? Who knows? And it can be very, very frightening. The amount of information that is continually being spewed out is, in my opinion, somewhat overwhelming. There are other people who are coming up with answers and solutions and protocols, and they're saying, I don't know why you're worrying about all of this stuff. Here is the answer. And then you'll see somebody else has got another solution and a whole load of protocols, and they say, I don't know why you're worrying about it. We've worked at ages, for years we've come and we've got the legal things over here, or there's this new community that started here, or an assembly of people, and if you join this, or if you become an independent and stand for a election and become in the part, or if you do this and we're going back to the land and we're going to dig this and we're going to build that, and in the end it becomes, push me pull you territory, doesn't it? You're going, oh, should I go over here? They sound ideal. Or should I go over here? Should I sell my house and go and live on this commune? Should I leave the country and go somewhere else where perhaps the globalists, the Luciferians, the Satanists, the McNasty dark forces can't get hold of us? Or should I end up just staying here and still going to the supermarkets and buying all the crap and going on the daily hamster wheel of work and just hope that it'll disappear? Put my head under the pillow or put my head like the stork into the sand and just think, no, it'll be all right in the end. It is overwhelming. And then, of course, you've got all the alternative media. I mean, none of us listened, of course, to the mainstream media, I'm sure, because that's all full of more fear-mongering and lies and all of that rubbish. But the alternative media, like channels like mine, are constantly trying to update you with bits and pieces, or an opinion piece like I do, and telling you, this is how I think. Maybe it's a good idea to give it some consideration. Of course, I always say, you've got to do your own due diligence, of course. And this is what we do have to do. We've got to take back responsibility for our own lives. We can't just keep going along and saying, oh, somebody else will sort it all out. We seek information so that we can sit and think. But it can be incredibly overwhelming, and we can sit there and go, I'm going to do nothing because I don't know which road to go. And everybody who's got these different ideas and different solutions are saying, but ours is the best one. If you just came over to our side, it would be all right. But then there'll be 20, 30, 50 other groups and societies doing exactly the same. And you go, well, I do like that, but there's this bit I don't like, so I'm going to have a look at this lot. And oh, no, wait a minute, there's that I don't like. And in the end, you're sort of going from pillar to post, not quite sure, not fully committing to something, or you're firefighting. You're firefighting the immediate problems of trying to get the kids out of school, trying to tell people about the chemtrails, or trying to find a good water filtration, trying not to get fluorided, all these sort of immediate things, knowing that there are these better places, a different type of living, a different thing, all that time that you want to spend meditating, for example, and just never quite getting there because so many other things things are coming on. Oh, your neighbour is telling you, did you know we're having a war with Russia? Oh, we're going to have a war with Russia. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? What are they going to do? Nuke us out of our environment? Are they going to blow us up to smithereens? We're going to put a paper bag on our head and get under the bed like they were telling us in the 1960s and 70s. Oh, yes, it's going to be another Cold War or a hot war or a nuclear fusion war. And in the meantime, of course, we're worried about the fuel bills. We've got to pay all this stuff. Or is there a legal remedy to get out of paying the council tax or any kind of tax because we disagree morally and ethically with the fact that our government, our kind, nice, benevolent government, who seem to be actually monsters in suits, are actually trying to send all our money away overseas to keep wars going and to keep us in fit. I mean, it's just too much. It's just too much. And here am I spouting it all to you right this second. It's too much. It's like, stop. Give us some time out, for goodness sake. I just want to breathe. Oh, no, you can't do that because the air's full of heavy metals and all those. Like, oh, God, I'm going to get dementia now. I'm going to go funny. I'm going to get stupid. What is the point? Do you feel like that? Do you feel like there's just too much? It's too overwhelming. You're discombobulated. Your brain's frazzled. You've had enough. You just want to sit in the sun. Just want to lie in the sun and get a bit of vitamin D. And then you can't because the buggers have gone overboard with their aeroplanes and they're streaking the skies with stuff and is too much. It is, isn't it? It's a bit like that at the moment. It is a bit like that. And yet, you know, on the one hand, there's all this information coming in. There's all this fear. There's all this nonsense. And then you look out and other people who have yet to wake up, yet to understand the great harms that have happened to them. Perhaps they are waking up to something that was injected to them a few years ago now because they can't move their arm or they're feeling less energetic or they've had a bit of a stroke or their legs aren't working properly or they've gone blind or they can't hear properly or any of those things. Perhaps there are some people who are aware of these things, and then the trouble is they get onto that groove and there's overwhelming information again. And of course, people are shrieking out, unity, unity, we need unity. This is the way that if the more people can speak about it or know the knowledge, that we can get rid of the 5G technology that's radiating our brains. We can do something about the EMFs. We can turn the government round and somehow help it. I mean, I don't have all the answers. Of course we need to unite. Of course we need to turn our backs on tyranny. Of course we've got to try and eat healthily. Of course we don't want to go anywhere near these EMFs and these radioactive things that are sort of toasting our heads and all of that. We don't want to be looking at the LED lights that the cars are bringing to us and all the bioweapons that are in the food now. Of course we've got to get out onto the land and have a much more pleasant, simple life. But it's just not easy, is it? It's just not easy. And I get in my email box, Richard, I told you the secret, it's this, or get this book, or do this, or follow this thing. It isn't an easy road, I can tell you. It is not. But all I can say is the great news is the internet, before they shut it down, before they make us go to digital IDs where we have to sign on and they know exactly who we are every moment, before they give us the CBDCs with their program money, we still have that freedom to, limited freedom I grant you, to try and influence as many people. It is a numbers game. We do need to try and get as many people, even if it's just one tiny aspect, whether it is the fact that the clouds don't look the same, whether it is that processed food is getting you ill, whether it is that the medical profession have put something into you, whatever it is, whatever tiny little way you can plant the seed to somebody else, a friend, a neighbour, even members of the family who do think you're talking rubbish. We still must go out there and plant those seeds. And even though the information out there is overwhelming, the internet and the ability to share information and videos at the moment, before it's taken away, is our biggest weapon. But of course, don't just stay behind all the screens and stuff. Get out there and meet as many people. Have conversations. Talk to them. Drop into those conversations very simple things. and see if you can get people to slowly wake up. We do need the numbers. We do need to unite. We do need to know that it's the Luciferian, the globalist, this one-way government. We do need to know that children are being harmed, that they're being sexualized in the school. We still need to impart that information. And even though it does seem overwhelming, we still need to get that message out, and we mustn't get complacent, like I said the other day. We must keep fighting the silent war, the propaganda that is against us. We must keep going. We mustn't stop and feel, oh, it's too much, what's the point? We still have to get up, get out of bed, get dressed, and get back onto the warpath, because we are winning. We are making a difference. We are definitely, this is what one of the beauties of running a YouTube channel and people being in touch with you with their emails and all of that, is that you do get interesting information. We are making a difference. There is so much to be positive about, and we have to continually fight, despite massive amounts of hailstones from the skies that Julia and I suddenly encountered when we were in Derby yesterday, in Derbyshire. Suddenly, and you think, God, I've never seen anything quite like this, with the van rattling from the amount of ice that was coming down. You think that's got to be man-made. That can't be natural. Although somebody did say, no, it's just natural. I don't live in Derbyshire, so maybe they have hailstones every other week, for all I know. But there is some odd weather. But you still have to get up, and you still have to make the fight, and still have to give it a go, because we cannot give up, despite how overwhelming it is. We are, I think, on the downward slope now. I think we've got to the peak. We're there. This is the year of the revelations, and stuff is coming out. Things are coming out which are going to change the history. Their workbook, the Luciferians, the dark forces, call them what you will, their workbook, they're in the back rooms going, oh God, they found this out, and tearing out pages that the plans that they were going to implement. They want us to have a war with Russia. They want to have explosions. They want to have UFO things. We keep calling it out. We know what you're doing, and we have to keep calling it out, because it is getting them, pulling their hair out. People like Klaus Schwab, I'm sure he's no longer around, apparently stepped down. Really? We are making a difference, and that is the most important thing. So despite all of that, despite the fact that it is a bit too much, take time out where you can, sit in some silence, just regenerate your batteries, breathe deeply, puff your pipe if you so wish, and we will win this. We have to. There is no turning back, but we shall. Thank you for watching.